To say start, or we are?
I just started.
Okay. All right, guys, welcome to High Desert California Writers Club Act 2 meeting. And tonight we're going to be talking about Ready, Set, Reset, on how to reset when you get writer's block. But for me, it's the same tools I have used in that I've learned and used and my PTSD. And those tools are the tools that I have found help me with writer's block the best. They overcome the same way. They push me forward the same way. So today we're starting with a pen and paper, a glass of water, and a readiness to learn something new. So this presentation isn't going to be the presentation that you can go in and take something out of if you're going to say, no, I'm good at doing it this way. The whole point of it is to rewire our brain to ready, set, let's go, but ready, set, reset again, to get us out of it. So go ahead and move the slide. I don't know if you guys do TikTok or not. There's trends. So there's this new trend, and says something like, see me in my new Bugatti. I guess it's a new song or something, right? And a lot of people did it. So you're sitting on the floor in the videos of you on the floor, and you're acting like you're shifting gears, and you say the word, see me in my new Bugatti, but nobody can see your feet. And so somebody has your ankles and jerks you really hard. So you go sliding out of the screen. So it's like you're driving a car, right? And a lot of people did this. And then somebody did it, and they decided to have their partner do it with them. So they did it, and then the other partner did it, and the partner who's strong couldn't pull them out of the screen, right? So the one goes flying out of the screen because the husband or the stronger partner pulls them, and the other one gets stuck, and it's like, and you think, oh, that's a fail, right? But those ones are trending. Those ones are catching people's eye. Those ones are the ones that are connecting with people because that's real. That's real life. And sometimes, whether we're in a new Bugatti or in an old Honda, like we feel that slug, right? That okay, you good there? Can you guys see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So let me move it then. Oh, so here's my new logo. Eden Scottis's CJ Berry. I changed it. Hopefully this is the last time. I still didn't feel like it was fitting my energy and my theme, and now I do feel like it is, and I absolutely love it. So we're going with that. The act of noticing is the tool that I use. So in the commercial I was talking about the new Bugatti, right? You have to notice. You have to pause enough to notice, to step out of the frustration of the moment, to see what's going on. In my book, A Dreams the Soul Cries, A River of Tears, one of the dreams I read about is about, that I tell about, is a point where I met myself, my inner wounded self, in a shack in my dream. And as I was looking for this first image, here is an AI generated image. I put in the words and it kind of gave it to me, what I was looking for. A few weeks later, I was driving home and passed a place I passed a lot. And I saw this old shack, and I don't know that I would have ever noticed the beauty of it if it had not resembled my dream so much. So seeing this old shack and seeing it in my dream, when we take the time to pause and notice, we'll see things that interact between our story that we're telling and the world around us, because we've made the choice to become aware of it. And I'm just going to read you a little bit of this. I have to tell you, this is where most people stop, so I'm not going to read you all of it because this is a very dark dream I had. So, looking down at the streams of sweat, she paused as one little pocket of her soul dripped down from her face onto her arm. She watched as it flowed like a river, leaving a streak washed clean as it mixed with the dust on her skin, down her arm and gently landing on her dirty and tired feet, shattering into a million of tiny muddy drops, leaving her with nothing but her echoes and a faint hint of a dream past. So when we practice this art of noticing, it's an act of connecting with ourselves. So that's what I want you to kind of focus on as we go through these different exercises that I use. So in a moment that could be dark or depressing, or a moment we can't get out of writer's block and we're frustrated, it could simply be focusing on a little detail, such as a sweat drop dripping from your face, that is going to grab you and spark that creativity that we all have. Okay, so writer's block, what is it? It's the condition of being unable to think of what to write, and how to process with our writing. So how do you guys experience writer's block? Often? How often do you experience it? Let's say maybe you experience it only once a month, but it lasts for 3. And not just writer's block, depression. Before I started writing and going to therapy and learning these tools, some of these tools I'm going to share with you today, my depression cycles would last weeks where I couldn't come out of it. And right now they last days, and I'm happy. I'm happy with days. I'm happy with the fact that I know I'm only a few moments away from coming back, right? From being able to pull myself out, and that I just going to use this time to focus in and heal and work on me through these moments, whatever it is, and that it's right around the corner. I'll be back out of it. And I think with that perspective, that comes from having practiced and practiced. And every time I practice and I get better at it, the shorter it is. And the same with writer's block. The more we practice the tools and we realize that breaking through writer's block has nothing to do with writer's block at all, right? It has to do with focusing inward on us and looking and building a relationship with ourselves, and the block will dissipate. So first, we're going to practice noticing. And this is from, I have several books here. You'll see you can't see because you just see my screen. I'll share with them in the end. So this one is from Warrior Goddess Training. And it is my absolute favorite book. And I annotate this one, not as good as Mike annotates, but this one is quite annotated. So, and this is by Heather Shamara, and she is my favorite author. When we start a new project, relationship, or spiritual practice, we are planting a seed. There's a certain amount of faith in starting something new, a leap into the mystery. Sometimes that new seed or change germinates. Sometimes it doesn't. To give us a new idea, relationship, or intent of the best growth, we need to listen to its needs and conditions, nourish it with our attention, presence, and care. Just like a tender plant, we are learning along the way. So that's important. Seeing if you see your story as that seed you're planting, you don't know if it's going to have 5 leaves or 10 leaves or how tall it's going to get. You have an idea what you want it to look like. I'm growing sunflower seeds. Actually, my daughter's growing sunflower seeds, and one is like 10 inches tall, and now it's flopped over. And then the one right next to it is like 3 feet tall. So, and I was surprised these sunflowers have sunflowers all the way up the plant, not just one big one on the top. The whole stem has sunflowers all the way up. So when we allow our story to grow and breathe with it, we don't get so stuck into it's supposed to look this way. And that relates to life. When we don't allow ourselves to get so stuck into it was supposed to look this way, and it doesn't. Instead, step back and say, what can I see in this moment that is beautiful? Then it helps us to pull out of that moment and to go back to creating. So here are some tools. Just know that whether your plant grows into a sequel and you've got a whole Lord of the Rings trilogy with an extra Hobbit story at the beginning laid out, or you just have the one beautiful little plant, your one beautiful little book, they're both winning, right? They're both wins, because you've told this story that you were meant to tell, and you took the steps. We're going to go recognize your emotion. Dreamer never gives up. And that is, I'm proud to be part of the California Writers Club, the High Desert Branch, because I know all of you are winners, because all of you never give up and you encourage me to not give up. And it's just this whole group of encouragement and not giving up. So I am grateful to be part of a whole group of winners. Know your truth. There's a time. Okay, so for this book, for Rick Rubin, this is my go-to when I have writer's block, is Rick Rubin. And it's The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And I did not know Rick Rubin was a musician. And for that, I would just like to say that I was just surprised. It makes sense by how he looks. He looks like a rock star, but I just knew him from his book and his creativity. So he says in his book, there's a time for certain ideas to arrive, and they find a way to express themselves through us. And I think that's so important, because when we hit writer's block or we go into depression, accept it for what it is. Know our truth, know where we're at, know where we're coming from, and that it's okay. There might be a different story you need to listen to for a moment inside of you. So take a step back and allow that to show. Remembering your why. I once made a poster board of remembering my why, and it had my girls on it, and it had my home I wanted on it, and all those things that I wanted. Remembering your why. And so often we get distracted by the why because we want all the plants in a row. We want the trilogy, right? But we forget why we started writing. So we had a story to tell, or we wanted to share something important to other people. We wanted to help people. And so with that, I'm going to read you one of my poems here. Give me just a moment. I think in the doing everything, I closed it. So let's take a moment to breathe and write down your why. Let's go with 3 things. If you get 5, that's great, but 3 things is good. Remember your why. My why is I wanted to have a little home for my girls to grow up on with gardening and animals. I always wanted to. That was my why. And when I look at this, when I start looking at how my story was supposed to be and how it came out, I don't have that. I didn't give that to him. And that was everything I always wanted. And so in remembering my why, I remember that I can still give that to my girls, even though they're grown. That's something I can still work towards. So as a writer, in everything I do, I'm still working towards that why. It's not gone. It's just, pause. It wasn't the time for it to come to me, like the slide before said with Rick Rubin. It wasn't its time to come. And then this thing makes me laugh. I'm really into writing short fiction, mainly to-do lists, because I can spend a lot of time doing to-do lists. My middle daughter tells me it's the most unproductive thing. The most productive, unproductive thing I do is the hours I spend on to-do lists of planning everything out. And writers can really get into that. And it's very helpful for us, our sticky notes, everything. So as I was going over what I was going to share with all of you today, I started thinking about practicing it myself as I woke up this morning. So I started listening to nature around me and listening to the world around me, recognizing myself, where I was at. And I wrote this poem, this little short story this morning. It's Morning Meditation, the City. The sun isn't even up, and yet its light pierces through the low-hanging fog that covers the city, a soft glow blanketing the earth as the city wakes up. The moisture in the air kissing my cheeks is so far removed from the dry heat of the desert that I have known my entire life, reminding me of the beautiful stepping into a new adventure. The low hum of the city waking up is so similar to the rustling of a farm. How does this movement so far removed, always made me back to the place of peace. I don't belong in the city. I know this. I was made for a different life that I have not lived, in a different world that does not seem to exist. I miss the smell of earth that lingers in the morning air as the neighbors move their cows, and out of the alfalfa fields as the hum of the tractor harvests for hay. I miss the sound of animals as they encourage the sun to rise. My thoughts are broken by the rough sound of the trash bins thumping as they are pulled to the curb, and my neighbors yelling at their children as they leave as my neighbors yelling out to their children before they leave the house, teasing sounds of affections and tidings for a beautiful day, the jingling of a leash, the bark of a dog, rustling of feet, a slamming door, too close to not be from my own home, too personal to be witnessed by the vastness of the city. A bird begins to sing as the neighbors start their car, off for another day of work, another day of pay. The city is awake now as a trash truck can be heard in the distance heading my way, collecting the proof that we have lived. No, I was not made to live in this space or even this time. My dreams lead me to beauty, and yet I find it even here, lost among the remnants of lives not yet lived, tossed into a bin and left on the side of the road, next to the trash of our neighbors' lives, gathered and discarded. The noise of the trash truck, now threatening to consume all of the beauty of the morning, cranking and dragging as if to remind us that this life has yet to be lived and the moment not yet discovered. Odd how seemingly silent the morning is as the truck fades into the distance. The morning bones have stretched as the city awakens. She pulls the covers over her head one more time. Closing her eyes, she wishes for a few more moments of dreaming before she rises and kisses the city with her nurturing embrace. And the birds begin to sing. So you can see here in this, you take your senses. You're going to take every single one of your senses as you write or as you pull yourself out of that moment, and you're going to focus in on it. I have a mental health app called Finch, and it's adorable. It's a little bird, and you take care of the little bird by taking care of yourself. And one of the things that it has you do is notice the emotion, right? Using your senses. So you, like the butterfly in this image, you have the butterfly flutter to your toes. And then you ask yourself, how do my toes feel? And then you have the butterfly flutter up to your knee and land on your knees. And you ask yourself, how does your knees feel? And then my knees always hurt. And then to your hips, and then up to your back and your shoulders and your neck, where just the slightest weight of the butterfly on my neck seems to make my neck want to just hit the pillow because it's heavy. And then land on the top of your head, and then even to your fingertips. And then in this bit of noticing, you can add love to those parts of your body. Use your senses and say, what do I smell? What do I hear? And all of those, when we can use our senses to focus in on the act of noticing, it will pull us away from the negativity. It'll pull us into the beauty of the world. So in Warrior's Goddess, that's by the one by Heather Amara also. I'm going to read a little excerpt from there. And it says, I let myself feel my emotions completely and witness what was arising. I felt the overwhelming. I felt my judgment, frustration, and scene of being out of control. I felt my victim's terror of not doing it right. Then I went inside and soothed those parts of me that are sacred. And so when you do the act of noticing, it's an act of embracing. I like to practice something called holding space for people, because we don't all agree. We don't all have same mindsets, and we don't have all the same lenses that we've seen the earth from in each thing. So when we can hold space for other people and set that intent to hold space for other people, we have to turn that internally and hold that space for us and say, you know what, you're frustrated right now. That's okay. I hold that space for you. What do you need? So when we set our intent, we're going to set and say, okay, I'm intending on pausing and noticing. What do I need to do that? I need to breathe. I need to see the butterfly, imagine it fluttering, across my body. I need to listen. What am I hearing? But then our emotions, what is blocking me in this moment from being creative? Because that's truly what writer's block is, right? It's something blocking us from being creative. And we might need to step out of it and go do something else creative. For me, I might need to paint. I am not good at painting at all. One of these days, you're going to see something I painted and be like, what? But it immediately turns all the chaos off in my head when I'm painting. And I just focus in on the act of creating. And to the act of creating is the opposite to me of anger, of hate, of depression, of all of those things. Creating is the opposite. And when we can create, we bring beauty into the world and we can share it with others. So this is from another book of Heather Shamaras. It's called The Warrior Heart. And I'm going to read you a little excerpt from her. It says, to get clear on your intent, it is important to tell yourself the truth about you want for the specific situation and bring it through. The attention to focus in on your intent and not about how you want the other person to act or be, how you want your story to come out. Don't focus on that. Focus in on you and your intent. My intent in this moment is to create romance in this story, or my intent in this moment is to create discord between these two characters, or my intent. So when you can focus in on the intent and focus in on the human emotion of your character or the human emotion of you, then you can see clearer what you want them to say, how you want them to act, how they're going to behave. Because if you're like trying to write out a fight and they're like, and he said, and she said, and then he said, and she said, and then you're like, this doesn't sound good at all. But when you can focus in on the intent of the argument, and maybe the intent is that I'm just going to come from my own perspective here, is that the woman is not being heard and she's trying to be heard and she has not yet learned how to put into words her frustration because she's never been allowed to have a voice. No longer do you go to he said, she said. Now you understand that she tried to put into words that she could not utter, that got lost in the chaos of her soul, never having been given permission to say what she truly wanted to say, right? So you can change your relationship with your characters. You can break through writer's block. I believe it. Recognize your emotion. So I chose this poem. I know it's hard to see on here. I chose this poem because as I was getting ready to present today, it just popped into my head that this was one I wrote while I was doing open mic night, that I'm not the person who should be doing open mic night. I always felt that and yet in doing it, I gave so many people permission who didn't feel like they should even have the right to get up because society had told them, that we think if that's young, that's hip or whatever, somebody who's really good at it, they see me up there and they're like, oh, she can do it, I can do it. And I didn't realize that would be the outcome. That was the outcome, an unexpected flower, I would say, to that garden. So defiance and delusion. I do not feel qualified for half of the things I do. I question my being, my very existence, my desires and my dreams. These whispers of doubts consuming, as if to fall prey to the inevitable quicksand my childhood warned me of, made me fear the whispers of lies, fearing my own steps, my own feet, my soul. In this very pit I now rest, unable to move, devoured in silence, reaching from the mud. I drag myself free. The crust of the earth crackling from my soul, as if to say your metamorphosis is coming to an end. Fearing the freedom, fearing the restraints, screaming myself into existence by defiance and delusion. No, I do not feel qualified for half of the things I do. I question my being, my very existence, my desires, and my dreams. But a world in which I am silent simply no longer exists. So the silence I will now fill with me. When we're able to do that, when we're able to visualize it, and that's a gift not all people have been given, but writers have been given, is the art of visualizing what we want something to become. We can visualize ourselves stepping out of the situation we're in and creating the situation we want it to be. And it may not happen like we want it to happen, but if we keep going and keep creating and keep creating, eventually we will find we're no longer in that mud that we found ourselves stuck in, whatever it is. Building a relationship with self. The simple truth is that when you fight change, you suffer. When you embrace change, you open to creativity, to possibilities, and to healing. So this is also from Warrior Goddess Training here. And this is at the very beginning of her book. I was like, I'm hopping all over, but I read this book so much that I was like, have all my favorite things highlighted in here. The simple truth. Oh, I just read that part. Let me go on. Change is inevitable, but transformation is by a conscious choice. While you do not always have control over how or when the change will occur in your life, you can choose how you are who you are in relationship to this change. When you step towards rather than ignore, fight, or resist change, you reclaim your personal freedom. You step into a path of transformation and move from being a victim of change to being a co-creator with change. And that co-creator always stuck with me, that we are co-creators with our life, right? Every choice we make pulls us in a different direction. So when we feel stuck, we feel out of control. We feel like I just can't do it. I'm just not good enough, or I can't get these characters to say what I want. And then when we can practice the act of noticing, we notice that we are the co-creators of our entire life. We can create our character's story, and we can co-create it with them. So write like the world ended yesterday and you're only one left to remember how it felt. This quote so reminds me of now I can't think of her name. Anne Frank, of Anne Frank right now, because she did that. And yet things she wrote then are so translatable to our world today. So write like the world ended yesterday and you're the only one left to remember it. Or your character's world ended yesterday, that if you don't document this story, no one will know it because it's your story and it's stuck inside you. And while you're writing it, the only way to share it with the world is for you to create. So we're going to do a deep observation exercise. I told you guys earlier to have a glass. And this comes from The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. There is a workbook that goes with it. So I'm going to read you the little exercise. So I'd like you to take a look at your glass of water or whatever it is that you've chosen. Choose an everyday object in your surroundings, like a cup, a plant, or a pen. Spend a few minutes silently observing it without analyzing it or judging it. Just let it be. Focus slowly on its presence, its texture, colors, any sensation it invokes in you after the I've never noticed before. This exercise aims to enhance your awareness and perceive the extraordinary within the ordinary. And this is something I like to do no matter where I'm at, whatever I'm doing. I could be stuck on the road in traffic and pause for a moment and see a butterfly that I wouldn't have noticed before if I hadn't practiced it. When I did the cup of water, this is what I wrote. As I looked at my glass, I don't know what I wrote. As I looked at my glass cup of water, I first noticed how beautiful the color from the book behind it looked through the water. The second thing I noticed was how distorted the image was through the water. I never looked at a cup of water that way. I'd always looked at a cup of water as like, oh, get a cup of water, take a drink, put it down, you're done, right? Is it clean? Oh, is there a speck of food left in there? but never to find the beauty in it. And the third thing I noticed was that the perspective looking through the top of the glass was different than the side of the glass. And how when we can take a moment to look at everyday ordinary things from a different perspective, we will see something we've never seen before. Okay. And intent. So in practicing intent, there's this practice called undoing. I don't remember where I learned this. It's been a long time. Undoing is the act of doing anything that's going to reset your brain or frustrate your brain. It's kind of like a hiccup for your brain. A lot of people say take a different route home other than your regular route when you feel stuck, or set your keys down somewhere else. If I do that, I will never find them. So I don't recommend setting your keys down somewhere else. But do something that's going to break the pattern you are in. I love this one. This backwards wish. Walk backwards 5 steps. Make a wish you've already given up on. Spin in a circle and say, maybe, just maybe, this time, and walk forward. You've confused your brain. You've reset your brain. You've broken a pattern by walking backwards. I can't remember the last time I'd walked backwards before I saw this. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it. Walk backwards. Let's do it. In the act of undoing, some people dig a hole and for no purpose and bury it again because it confuses your brain. Wear a sweater inside out. That one actually helps so much, and it's so difficult to do, and I don't understand why. Put your sweater on inside out, put it on inside out and backwards, and sit down and try writing. Or start going about your day knowing your shirt is on inside out because you're focused, and it will help putting on. And then this one I just saw and I loved it. Pick one object in the room and imagine it is fiercely on your side. So, like, especially if it's a pen, right? It's a pen and this pen is on my side and it's in my hand and it is going to, it's a magic pen and it's just going to write its own story and start writing and see what story your pen writes, you know? Just break whatever it is, break the mundane, the pattern you're in, and let the world fight for you. The universe is there for us. So reminders, your story is your seed. Let it grow. Don't get stuck in an old idea. Let it breathe and grow. Growth will always feel like loss. Remember that. And that to me is something so important, because when we grow and things change, you have to let go. I let go of 27 years in that house that I raised my kids in, right? That's whole life I've let go of, and it feels like loss. That's okay. But when you're writing your characters and they're growing and they're changing, don't forget that loss, because that loss is a human connection. So your character that you're writing might need to feel something that's a human emotion that you're not allowing them to feel. So that art of noticing will help us in that way connect with our character and say, okay, as they're transitioning and now they're just going gung-ho in this direction, don't forget there's that tinkle of loss that they're going to have in the back of their mind because the path they did not take. And when life is too much, look at your feet. This, a friend of mine told me, he told me just take that next step. And this comes so much from the practice of grounding, and just look at your feet. Look at the ground beneath your feet. Notice it. Stretch your toes, curl them into the sand, and breathe. Lift your foot up, put it back down. Now lift the other foot up. Put it back down. Breathe. Keep heading in that direction. You already know the way. So this last poem I'm going to read to you guys is the first poem I wrote. And I love to read it just because I wrote it in my early 20s, and each step of my life, it's been completely true. Each step an unsure grasp. Each step an unsure grasp. Hold your breath. Don't go too fast. This bridge was made to last far too long ago in the past. Don't look down. The darkness is tempting, searching to find your weakness. Going forward means another step, another loose board, another broken patch. You've come so far. Don't look back. You have too much to lose if you don't cross this path. Your feet get shaky and your hand reaches out for help. All alone, you grasp the rope. Steady now. There is hope. Each step an unsure grasp. Hold your breath. Don't forget to breathe. One foot in front of the other. Keep steady. Keep breathing. Keep climbing. Keep singing. You're learning. You're growing. You're being. You're becoming. Each step an unsure grasp. Hold your breath. Don't go too fast. This bridge was made to last far too long ago in the past. Don't look down. The darkness is tempting, searching to find your weakness. Going forward means another step, another loose board, another broken patch. You've come so far. Don't look back. You have too much to lose if you don't cross this path. So here are all the books that I used. If you want to know any more about them, one of my goals that I've wanted to do for a very long time is to go to a shaman retreat in Sonora, Arizona, where it's magical. Sedona. And I can do that this year. So I am going to be scheduling that, and I will be going for a 4-day retreat with Heather Shamara. So I'll be meeting my favorite author and doing a shaman retreat with her for healing in September. So I'm very excited about that. So that is, not only am I getting a computer and a phone, that is the other thing I'm going to schedule to do. So I'm very excited. So you're going to hear more about that as well. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you guys spending the evening with me. I appreciate Mike asking me to share this part of my journey. And I'm just grateful to have been able to be here with all of you. So let me stop sharing now, and then I'll answer any questions. Okay, can you guys see me okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. So if anyone has any questions or anything, I will show you the books here are the Heather Shamar books. I actually have, I think, 12 of them. She has written a lot of books. The Warrior Goddess one. And here is the Rick Rubin, The Creative Act. And if you ever think like you ever worry about your cover, just remember that this is Rick Rubin's cover. The act of noticing. It's very simple. So, and then here is the workbook that goes with it. So, did anybody write something down on their notes they would like to share, that something they noticed or their why?
I feel like you said a lot of important little nuggets that I never heard before, and I wrote those down that I think could help me. So
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Well,
I just want to make a comment, CJ, on this presentation. I think you did a beautiful job here, and I was just paying attention as you were doing it. You know, the number of slides that you have and how it fits in, and including things about yourself and how that applies to the points that you're actually making. And I think that most of the points that you have brought up are things that can make you really stop and think about how you could apply that more to your own writing, no matter what stage you're at, you know, in terms of writing. So bravo for you. You know, great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. And hopefully next Monday or next month, I will be at the Saturday meeting. That's the plan. So,
So for me, I have always been impressed with Karen Oda, who is here with us tonight. Her poetry just knocks me out because, like you talked about being observant and seeing things, Karen steps out of her house and sees a world that I don't see. And it has always impressed me so much. And I've told her in emails how much I want to be like her and to see like she sees. But some of the things you shared tonight were very helpful in that regard.
Yeah, there once you start practicing noticing, it just keeps going, right? Like Karen probably knows that as well. Like once you've started this, you keep noticing and you keep noticing, and then pretty soon you're like, how did I not see this before? The other day I was driving home or driving to town, and I drove past a road here that I've driven past a few times now, and I saw this giant tree that I've never seen before with these giant waxy leaves with these huge white flowers, not covering it, just like sparsely all over, the most beautiful tree. And that's a
Magnolia.
Magnolia tree. And I was like, that is the most beautiful tree, and I've never noticed that before ever in my life. And I'm like, how have I never noticed a tree like that before? So
I knew it was magnolia just from the way you described it.
oh, good. That's because we're writers. Well, good. Well, Mike, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your trip as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been delightful.
I can't wait to read about it.
Well, yeah, it's been delightful. I'm mostly writing. Honestly, I'm away from everything, and look how white I am. I burn so fast. So I am not laying out in the sun like most of my family is. My wife, she doesn't burn. I don't know why, but
You're
she just
cutting
gets.
out and freezing, Mike.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, I spent
That's a good place to be frozen though. Like
I spent a lot of time writing on this trip.
that's good. That's good. That's amazing.
Okay, so I am going to end this meeting especially since my computer's breaking up. Thank you everybody for coming.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
CJ.
you.
And thank you,
Thank you, guys.
CJ. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
CJ. Yes,
Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you find that this helps.
very much so. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, CJ.